We've allowed the lips to numb for 20 minutes. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the numbing agent and then proceed to do the outline. We're going to remove it carefully with the end of a microfine tip and just glide over to remove the excess. Again, we want to not ruin the outside lip line. Once we have the excess removed, we can then use a tissue to blot. Just stretching that over the lips and then peeling that back. You can see that our lip design is still intact. To begin the procedure, we have prepared our equipment, and we're going to be using for lining a 1RL, a round liner, 33. And then with our equipment for lip procedures, we'll be running it at about a medium speed, a little bit lighter. So typically around 5.5 up to about 6.5 is going to be acceptable. And to begin, we will set our outline. So we're going to stretch the skin and follow the very edge. Back and forth. Remember to stay in the skin. You don't want to keep lifting out of the skin. We can then use a little bit of a secondary number, such as alter duration, to check and see if we can see our line. And this will help us determine if we're using enough pressure or potentially too much pressure.
There's a blood line, but it's not enough, so I will apply a little more pressure.
The reason it's so important to have this line set is because the lips will swell as we work on them. And if you don't have that line in place, you're not going to be able to get a symmetrical shape. Now we'll test again.
And there's a line. Right there.
And now we can see the line.
It's very thin, nice line.
We're not looking for real thick, dark lines, just enough that you can see the outline. Now we can work at a 45-degree angle or a 90-degree angle. And we'll be using approximately a third to potentially a half of the needle insertion. And that's really going to depend on the amount of color that you see in your outline as you're checking it. Ultimately, it's feeling the correct vibration in your hand that's going to determine how it's working for you.
You see the line.
And now we can check again. Definitely check a couple of times as you're working. You can see the tight, small movements that are being made. So back and forth movement. You don't want to be making big lines jumping all over the place. And the stretch is adjusted as she moves across the lip. And we're checking now on the other side.
Like a line there. Very thin line. So if you're not sure, you can just do it again.
Now we're moving to the upper lip.
You can close it. Perfect.
Take your time, and when you get to the Cupid's bow area in particular, you need to keep those movements very small and tight and precise.
outline.
We're now wiping the lips to check for the outline. And remember, this is a soft, fine outline. This isn't a thick liner like we do with a lip pencil. Now that we have our outline in, we will be switching our cartridge to a 3R to begin to fill. And we have numbed the lower lips, so we'll start there. Our master artist likes to work in quarters. It's really up to you how you choose to work, but work methodically. And please note how fine and thin that outline is.
So I do 90 degrees.
So now we're at 90 degrees. And we're doing small circular movements from the
back and forth.
We're doing back and forth movements, and we're going from the outline in and back down.
So right down the minute we should start and stretching.
We're going to stretch and begin to work. We are at a 90-degree angle with the needle implanted, and we're going back and forth, doing a combination of long strokes and short strokes, and we will do some diagonal strokes as well. Keeping a nice stretch on the lip as we go.
Check. Very good basic colors already.
You can already see that we have a nice base of color, and we'll continue to work.
50% overlap.
Overlapping by 50% is important so you don't see bands of color, and as well the longer and the shorter strokes will help with that as well. Keep that needle in the skin as much as possible as you're working. And make sure you do have pigment as you're working. We'll wipe to see what kind of color we have and then continue to work. It's also important that you do work out to the line that you put in and not leave a lot of space.
diagonal.
Now we're going to start working backward diagonally. And by varying our strokes and our direction, we're going to get a nice even color.
I see blood, you're just gonna have to wipe.
Yep, it's not unusual to see some blood, so just blot and keep working. However, if you're too aggressive and too deep, you can cause a bruise. We're running the machine just a little bit higher right now, but again, the touch is very light. Now we're going diagonal.
We slow down at the line, but we have to get on the line. Okay.
So even though we're moving very quickly, when we get toward the edge of the line, we slow down a little bit. You want to be very precise and accurate, but again, we're combining those diagonal strokes with our long and short strokes. So we finished about 90% of the lip on that side. We're coming over to the other side. And the color that you see will also continue to bloom. It will bloom more before she leaves, but also as it is healing, more color will bloom.
Now before we going back there, now we're gonna numb the top lips.
Now we have 2 coats on the right side of the lip. We have 1 coat on the left side, our client's left side. So now we're going to go ahead and numb the upper lip because we have about 15 minutes left to work on the lower lip. And so we'll get that numbing process started. And in order to keep that from the area that we're working, we're putting a small piece of cellophane over the top of it. And now we'll go on to the left side and complete that with some diagonal work and some long and short strokes. right, so as you can see, we're about 90% done on the bottom of the lip, and the top lip is numb. You can tell that it's numb by the whiteness of the lip. So we're going to be again working on the upper lip, and again we're going to divide it in half. Also make sure to occasionally mix your pigment up a little bit before you start working to keep the colors suspended throughout the entire pigment. You can see the nice straight line there, the nice even color that's beginning to bloom. That will bloom even more. Now there is some swelling there, and that is considered normal. But that's why it is so important that you have your lip line in so that you can follow that, not that you're continually chasing the swollen area. And so now we're doing our quick back and forth strokes. We're combining small and long strokes. And we're moving from the outline in and then back. Overlapping about 50%, and then doing that combination of strokes will assure that you're not getting stripes of colors. Also make sure you keep your pressure even so that you have even color. Now you can slow down a bit as you get to the outline to make sure you get right up to it, but then you immediately want to go back to long, short, and then eventually diagonal movements. Always remember to stretch the skin and to move your fingers to adjust the stretch as you move throughout the lip.
Just the tip of the needle, since it's pretty thin.
Just work with the tip of the needle. You don't need to implant it deeply. The lip area does not have the layers of the epidermis like the facial skin does, so it doesn't take a lot to get into that dermal area. We're still working with a 3R.
You can work with 1R or 5R as well, depending on how much colors you want to add on.
Now you can see that we're continuing on the upper lip, and you're going to see us doing diagonal strokes now. And these diagonal strokes will help to blend the color even more. We're still using a combination of long and short, and we're coming right out to that lip line. So if you're a little uncomfortable about going over the line, certainly you can slow down as you get to the outside. But otherwise, these can be nice, quick movements. Keeping that needle in the skin very lightly. Working right up to that outline. And we work down to the wet line of the lip. We don't tattoo the wet line of the lip in this particular style.
Even.
And you can see how
even.
nice and even that color looks. And that comes from that variety of directions that Kay is working. Also, when you are going back and forth like that, there is about a 50% overlap so that you don't end up with stripes. Seeing some blood is natural, just wipe that away. However, you do want to check your depth if you are causing bruises on the skin.
Finish this side and then we go to this side.
And now we're doing our long and our short strokes on the other side. Be sure you're not going outside of the outline, and in particular the Cupid's bow is a very important area. We need to be exact with that. You'll also notice as we continue to work on the upper lip, that lower lip color is blooming more and more. We're continuing to finish up the other half of the upper lip. Once that is done, then we will go back and do perfection on both the lower and upper lip. And at that point then the procedure will be finished. The client can go home and heal. That color will continue to bloom over the next couple of weeks.
Beautiful.
And it's gorgeous right now.
Smile, big smile. And we wait for that to bloom. We're going to perfect everything else.
We finished the top and bottom, and now we are going back to do what is called perfection. And this is to smooth out any ripples that we might see, just really to polish over the lip area. We can do some diagonal movements if we see some spots that might seem not quite as even. And then once this is finished, our client will take photographs of our client, and then our client can go home and heal. We'll give her the aftercare to do, and then the color will bloom over the heal time. You can actually already see, since we started working, the color changes the lips have gone through. Just beautiful. Here also is where you can check that you have taken that color all the way up to the line.
Yes.
What do you think?
I love them.
Aren't they beautiful?
Oh my god, it's gonna look so cute when you take your like
Yeah.
hairnet off and like zhuzh your hair.
So we're gonna let her sit for a little bit for the colors to settle, and then we're gonna take pictures while you are cleaning your station.
Now you can see how beautiful the lips have turned out, and the color is continuing to develop. An important part of this whole procedure is the aftercare. So we're going to be giving you an aftercare kit to use, and we'll also give you some written instructions, but please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions, okay? So what you'll be doing for the next couple of hours is there is a little wipe in here that you can blot your lips with. You might find that there's a little bit of lymph and things seeping out, and that is going to help to clean that off. It's quite large, so just open it to a clean area and continue to use it for about maybe 3 to 5 times. We also have in here some ointment, and it's very important to keep your lips moist. So continually apply that to your lips. And then it isn't uncommon to get a little bit of an infection or kind of like just a little oozy spot on the lips. So if you do notice over the next couple of days that you're getting a little bit of a crustiness on the lip, flakiness is normal, dry and flaky, but if it's a little, crusty, oozy looking, then we have a bar of dial soap in here, and you can just stop putting emollient on, cleanse with the dial soap once or twice a day, let it get dry, and that'll clear it up completely. Okay, you had no history of cold sores, so be highly unlikely for you to have anything like that. But the little oozy spots, again, can sometimes occur. We'll also have on your instructions to not go home tonight and eat things that are very acidic. So tomato sauces, lemon, things like that are going to burn. You might want to drink your beverages through a straw for a day or two because your lips are very sensitive. Okay, so any questions on that at all?
No.
No? Wonderful. Great. Thanks so much.
Okay.